welcome to Phoenix Advice, where I'll give you advice on how to bring yourself back from any type of failure. Uh, Today is going to be understanding your emotions. So let's start off with kind of going through every emotion you can feel. There's like 270 emotions, I think. That's a lot of them, and you need to understand every one of them as possible. We can put it to be a little bit easier or a bit better, it depends. So let's go with emotions that are basic, like being upset or angry as such. To understand if you're upset, it would be to have a feeling of negativity. It can be resembled with tears, by shaking in your voice, or it could just be silent pain that you're repressing. This version, in a term that I'll make, we'll call it the sadness being you beginning to flare up. I know that's more anger, but for this podcast we're going to be understanding, and sadness can kind of come in bursts throughout your life. You will be sad no matter what. It could be early in your life, could be later. The world has many different surprises. So what we're going to end up doing is I want you to kind of internalize whatever emotion you have and think of it like using your emotion like you're just talking to your imaginary friend who will always listen, and let's go with that they're mute so you won't have any interruption from it. What you mainly want is to just kind of let yourself go. Let the emotion take control, but try and keep it so that if anger is your emotion, you don't end up doing it in an outburst. Just try and use it as a facial expression or just an internal rage for anger or anything of the sort. For emotions like jealousy, you're just going to want to kind of show it in more of an emotional way instead of physical. So instead of all like the revenge, etc., you actually just want to kind of speak it. Like, say in your relationship, you'd want to discuss your differences. If your boyfriend or girlfriend is doing something you don't like, talk to them about it and try to find a breakthrough with it. This might end up giving you a little bit more of an image as to what you need to expect within the relationship. I don't plan to end any, but if that's what happens because you realize it's toxic, then so be it. It's just what you can do. So, with every emotion so far, now that you've internalized and kind of given it to your imaginary friends or self, that you can just envision in your mind, either as a person, as an animal, or even just as any kind of physical being. It could be a pet, anything where you can just kind of release what you have. Try and go back to the neutral state and have your mind focus on what the emotion actually is, What you're gonna have to do for that is just breathe deeply and slowly, and just keep having your mind focus on what emotion you have to control the most. What is your weakness and what is your strength? If your emotions begin to take control, then just try to restrain yourself. Have your arms to your shoulders and just kind of push in a little. This should allow your emotion to just hang itself back. Still show, but not release as such. Make sure not to do it too hard or do it in the wrong area, because doing it in the wrong area might end up giving you a little bit of pain. That isn't what we're trying to go for this one. We just want to understand the emotion that you're feeling and know how to control it as such. With every emotion, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, you want to know what brings it. It could even be agony or affection. Two polar opposites, but it's basically you want to know which one you'd prefer and which one actually shows more. Everyone is different in that area, but you just want to know why it's there. Now, the next thing I'm going to be discussing is, once you've understood the emotion, how do you keep it from taking over? Now, that's the deep breaths and all that I've mentioned earlier. And depending on the emotion, different items as well. For example, anger, hate, or even joy, even though their opposites are similar, it can still all be released by the one thing that this generation has that will continue onwards, which is video games. Using those, you can finally feel like yourself as such. It could be a virtual reality headset, a classic PlayStation, an Xbox, or even a PC. Just any video game, console, device, or even just retro, like a Game Boy, even arcade machines, or the Nintendo Wii, a DS, all that kind of stuff, where it's what you would have in your childhood. You use them to kind of release your emotions more. But anger is also shown with hobbies, such as boxing, karate, or any type of martial arts. You can release your anger on just a pad, basically. You can still use that same method for all your emotions, but instead of using the object, envision them as different things. Such as with your joy, what you'd want to do is that would be your mind having all boxing equipment and punching away all negativity. That is what your mind does when you feel joy. And every time it gets rid of the negative, that is when you start to lift up some more, where you rise. And if you are religious, you'd know that they would rise in the church, or even in a court. Positive, negative, assumption, or just any type of belief. You'd rise in church to open yourself up for your God to give you the divine energy that you want from it. It's not greed, it's believing that luck exists in that state. For a court, you'd rise for, like, the jury. Even the judge may rise, but you do it just to recognize, or even if a royal individual dies, you'd rise and have a few moments of silence for them, like we would for those who die in the wars. It's all that, where it's just one emotion would follow with multiple different things. Beliefs, sacrifices, or just like general religion. It doesn't matter what the action is, they will all share the same emotion if you care enough about it. Same with friends and family. If you care about them enough, you'll open yourself up a little bit more. Your family may not know the entire you, because they might not understand it, but that doesn't mean that you should hang back from it. It might be a little bit scary to try and tell them about the things that you are or the things that you want to be, but parents have to trust it. If they don't, you can just leave. Yes, it might not be beneficial, but it's better to find the truth than to just live repressed. You'd want the emotions to show rather than hide them. This is why we want to understand them, so we know which one will show first. If we know anger will show first, we know to control that to make sure we don't give it an outburst. If we know sadness is first, we know to hold back tears or to let them flow depending on the situation. If it's jealousy, we'd want to control our acts. That's all for this podcast. I hope that everyone is finally episode. Have a nice day, and make sure you use this episode to truly understand who and what you are. Have a nice day, everyone.